You know that moment in late December when you suddenly become a narrator of your own life, like you're watching a documentary called You Season Finale. You scroll through other people's recaps, you see the year closing like a door, and your brain starts making promises with a strange confidence. Next year, you'll be disciplined. Next year, you'll finally fix the thing. Next year, you'll become the version of you that doesn't hesitate, doesn't procrastinate, doesn't overthink, doesn't get tired. And then January arrives and nothing feels clean. You're still you. You still wake up with the same mind. The same habits are waiting in the kitchen like they never moved out. And if you're honest, the most painful part isn't that you didn't transform. It's that you briefly believed you would and now you feel betrayed by yourself. If this pattern hits you every year, you're not weak. You're running into a psychological glitch I'm going to call the future self stranger. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why next year you feels so convincing in your imagination but so absent in real life. How the year boundary creates a fake sense of distance that fuels shame and procrastination. And a simple toolkit to make change feel personal and doable without turning January into a courtroom. Here's the curiosity loop we'll close in a few minutes. The more you idealize your future self, the less you trust your present self, and that distrust is exactly what keeps you stuck. Let's name the phenomenon. The future self stranger is the feeling that your future self is basically a different person. Someone with different energy, different discipline, different courage, someone who will naturally do what you struggle to do now. It sounds hopeful, but it has a hidden cost. It makes today feel like an awkward waiting room where nothing truly counts. If the real you starts next year, then the current you becomes a temporary problem to manage, not a person to work with. And the mind loves this because it feels like progress without vulnerability. You get the dopamine of a plan without the discomfort of a first step. But your life doesn't run on fantasies, it runs on continuity. So why does your brain do this? There are a few simple reasons that will make you feel seen instead of judged. First, your brain experiences time as distance. A year from now is not just later. It feels far away, like another country. In psychology, when something feels far away, you think about it in broad, ideal terms. I'll be healthier, calmer, more productive. That's easy to imagine because it doesn't require details. But today is close. Today demands specifics. What do you do at 8:30 when you're tired? What do you say when you want to quit? How do you handle the moment you feel embarrassed or bored? Your brain avoids those details because details are where change actually happens, and change is where risk lives. Second, the new year is a cultural spotlight. Even if you don't care about resolutions, the season creates an unspoken comparison. Everyone is reflecting, everyone is upgrading, everyone is becoming. That pressure makes your brain search for a clean narrative, a before and after. But human lives aren't edited like movies, they're messy. Third, your nervous system craves a reset because you're exhausted. If the year was heavy, next year becomes a mental vacation. It's not just a plan. It's a relief fantasy, and relief fantasies are powerful because they numb disappointment for a moment. Fourth, if you learned early in life that love or approval depended on improvement, then becoming better becomes a form of emotional safety. Your brain starts negotiating. If I become the right version of me, I'll finally feel okay. That's not vanity, that's a protective strategy. Now let's use a metaphor we'll return to. Imagine your identity is a bridge across time. Each day is a plank. When you believe in the future self-stranger, you're basically saying, I'll start building the bridge later. You stand on your side, staring at the other side, waiting for a magical jump. But bridges don't appear. They're built by repeated, unglamorous planks. The problem with the New Year boundary is that it makes you think there's a cliff between December and January, like a dramatic cut in the film. In reality, it's the same bridge. Midnight doesn't change your nervous system. It doesn't rewrite your habits. It doesn't magically heal your fear. So when you place all your hope on a calendar flip, you're setting yourself up for a specific kind of pain, the pain of disillusionment. And disillusionment often turns into self-contempt, which then turns into avoidance, which then confirms your worst story. I never change. That's the hidden stake here. The future self-stranger doesn't just delay action, it damages trust. Because every time you promise a future version of you will handle it, you're silently telling your present self you can't be trusted. And when you don't trust yourself, you don't take small risks. You don't follow through. You overplan. You overthink. You wait for the right mood. You create a life that looks like preparation instead of participation. You might even feel a strange grief around New Year's, not because the year ended, but because you can sense another cycle of hope and collapse forming. If you recognize yourself in this, You can pause and write down one sentence your brain says every December. Something like, "Next year, I'll finally get it together." And if you want, share that sentence in the comments because it helps to see that this isn't just you. It's a common human pattern with a name. Now, the goal is not to kill hope. Hope is not the enemy. The enemy is the kind of hope that treats your future self like a savior and your present self like a failure. We want a different kind of hope, grounded hope, the kind that builds trust through tiny proofs. That's what the toolkit is for. 4 tools, not a laundry list. Each one is simple, memorable, and designed to feel doable in real life, not just in a motivational speech. Tool 1 is called the stranger test. It answers one question: are you treating your future self like a stranger? Here's how you use it. When you hear yourself say, "In January, I'll do it," you ask, "If my future self was a stranger, what am I outsourcing to them right now?" Then you translate it into a present tense request. What is the smallest version of this that I can do as me today? Example, you think, "Next year I'll start working out." Stranger test, you're outsourcing courage and consistency. Present tense request, today, as me, I can put on my shoes and walk for 8 minutes. That sounds almost insulting to your ambition, and that's the point. It's not meant to impress your ego, it's meant to reconnect you with agency. Because the bridge is built from planks that your nervous system can tolerate. Micro-experiment for the next 24 hours. Catch one next year thought and run the stranger test. Don't negotiate. Choose the smallest present tense version and do it within the same day, even if it's imperfect. Tool 2 is called the continuity receipt. Your brain believes what it can see. If your brain only sees failed resolutions, it will treat change as fiction. A continuity receipt is a tiny record that proves you are the same person across time and that you can keep promises, even small ones. You create a note on your phone or a piece of paper titled Receipts. Then you write down one line each time you do something that matches your values, even if it's small. I went for a short walk when I didn't feel like it. I sent the message I was avoiding. I stopped scrolling and took a shower. This is not toxic positivity. It's evidence. And evidence is how you rebuild self-trust. Here's why it works. Your mind has a negativity bias. It remembers what went wrong more vividly than what went right because it's trying to keep you safe. The receipt counterbalances that bias with data, not affirmations. Over a week, you look back and your brain can't honestly say, "I never follow through," because the receipts are there. Micro assignment. Start your receipt list today and add one line before you go to sleep. If you miss a day, you don't punish yourself, you just continue. Tool 3 is called the 1-week contract. This tool solves the January trap where you set a giant goal and then collapse under its weight. A 1-week contract is a deliberately short agreement with yourself that your nervous system can believe. You choose one behavior that takes under 10 minutes and you commit to it for 7 days, not forever. And you define success in a way that protects your dignity. Example, for the next 7 days, I will do 5 minutes of stretching after I brush my teeth. Or, for the next 7 days, I will write 3 sentences in a note called draft. No pressure to be good. Or, for 7 days, I will walk outside for 6 minutes. Then you add one crucial line. If I miss a day, I restart without drama. The contract is not about perfect streaks. It's about becoming the kind of person who returns. Returning is the real skill. Returning is what your future self is made of. Here's the inner monologue in action. It's day 3, you're tired, you want to skip. Old pattern says, "See, you never change." New pattern says, "This is a 7-day contract, not a life sentence. I can do 10 minutes. I'm building the bridge, not proving I'm worthy." Micro experiment. Write your 1-week contract today. Make it so small it's almost funny, and start tomorrow morning. Tool 4 is called the January handrail. This one is for the emotional part, the part nobody talks about. The new year can feel like a judgment. What did you do with your life? The January handrail is a short script you use when shame rises, so you don't turn reflection into self-harm. You say, "My life is not a report card, it's a direction. Today, I choose one plank." Then you ask a single handrail question. What would I do next if I liked myself just 5% more? Not 50%, 5. Because 5% is believable. 5% turns self-compassion into a practical lever. Example, you're lying in bed late, spiraling, thinking about everything you didn't do this year. Handrail, my life is not a report card, it's a direction. What would I do next if I liked myself 5% more? Maybe you'd drink water. Maybe you'd put the phone away. Maybe you'd write down one fear instead of letting it swirl. The handrail doesn't fix your whole life, it keeps you from falling. And not falling is progress. Now let's connect this back to the deeper philosophical question the new year always pokes. Who are you really? Are you the story you tell about yourself, or the patterns you repeat, or the choices you make when nobody is watching? The new year tries to turn identity into a dramatic reinvention, like you can delete the past and install a new personality. But a healthier philosophy is continuity. You are not a brand refresh, you are a living process. Change is not a flip, it's a relationship. You build a relationship with your future self by respecting your present self. You build it by making promises that your nervous system can keep. And you build it by collecting evidence that you are someone who returns. That's why the future self-stranger is so seductive but so dangerous. It offers transformation without relationship. It offers hope without trust. And trust is the real foundation of change. Let's close the curiosity loop now. Why does idealizing your future self make you trust your present self less? Because every time you imagine a perfect next year you create a silent comparison that your current self cannot win. Your present self becomes the before image, the flawed version, the thing to escape. And when you relate to yourself as something to escape, you will either avoid yourself with distractions or attack yourself with shame. Neither creates change. Relationship creates change. The toolkit is a way to rebuild relationship. Stranger test brings your future into the present in a tolerable dose. Continuity receipt builds evidence of trust. 1 week contract trains returning instead of streak chasing. January handrail protects you from turning reflection into cruelty. If you want a second comment prompt that might genuinely help you, answer this for yourself. What is one thing you keep outsourcing to next year you? Courage, consistency, boundaries, rest, self-respect. And what is the smallest plank you could place this week? Sharing that in the comments can turn this video into a map of real human planks, not perfect transformations. Now here's the integration, the simple protocol you can remember. When you catch a next year fantasy, run the stranger test and do the smallest present tense version within 24 hours. Record it as a continuity receipt. Pick one 1 week contract so small your brain can't argue with it. And when shame or pressure spikes, use the January handrail to stay kind enough to continue. If you do this, something quiet shifts. January stops being a stage where you must perform a new identity. It becomes a workshop where you build one plank at a time. And the most surprising outcome is that your future self stops feeling like a stranger, because you start experiencing yourself as someone who is continuous, someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't need a calendar to be real. If this gave you clarity and a practical way to stop outsourcing your life to next year, like the video, share it with someone who always feels that December pressure to reinvent themselves, and subscribe to Mind Unlocked, because we're building a toolkit for better thinking, clearer communication, and deeper self-understanding. And the more tools you have, the less you'll need to escape into fantasies, and the more you'll be able to build a life that actually feels like yours, one believable plank at a time.